Welcome to Hurry Up Pinball, a show where I teach you how to work on your pinball machine. Today I will show you how to install the PowerWaveJ Amp from PinWoofer. So grab your tools and let's get going. Here is a look at the PowerWaveJ Amp from PinWoofer. Before beginning the installation, be sure to read the warning located on the amp bag. Before beginning this installation, unplug the pinball machine. Then move the pinball machine so you have access to both sides of the pinball cabinet. Open the coin door, grab the back box keys, and remove the trans light. Be sure to place it in a safe location. Next, pull the monitor forward to disengage it from the magnetic mounts and angle the monitor off to the side. This will allow access to the 4 screws holding on the electronics case cover. Remove the 4 screws holding on the cover. If you have any mods or cables attached to the cover, gently rest the cover on the support arm for the monitor. Place the screws in a safe location as we will need them later. Here is a look at the stock amp board that we will be removing. Before removing the audio cables seen here, be sure to note which wires lead to which speaker on the stock board. We will also be removing the power cable and the mini plug from the stock amplifier. Pinch the connectors on the side and unplug the audio cables at this time. I found removing the old amp board much easier by unplugging the ATX cable and the short power cable lead. This will give you more room to work with. If you unplug these cables, make sure to reconnect them once the PowerWaveJ board is installed. At this time, remove the power cable from the stock amplifier board. With the audio cables disconnected, tuck any loose wires to the side. Next, we will be removing the 6 screws seen here that hold on the stock amp board. Remove the 6 screws using a nut driver and set them aside. We will be using 3 of these screws to mount the new PowerWaveJ board. Again, make sure to note the correct location for the speaker plugs on the old board versus the new board. This information can be found on the side of the connection points on both boards. We will be installing the PowerWaveJ board by using the 3 screws that you just removed. The screws will be placed in the holes as seen here. Gently position the PowerWaveJ board over the mounting pegs and install the 3 screws. I would recommend not tightening them down until all 3 screws have been threaded into the posts. After installing the 3 screws, tighten them down but do not over-tighten them. With the new amp installed, it is time to connect the audio cables. Connect the audio cables from the subwoofer to the rightmost plug on the new amp. Here is how the sub cable should look once properly connected. Next, connect the right and left speaker cables to the corresponding connection points on the new amp. Here is how it should look with all 3 audio cables connected. Now we need to plug in the power cable for the new amp. Plug in the power cable as seen here. If you previously unplugged the other end of the power cable to make installation of the board easier, reconnect it to the wiring harness as seen here. Here is how it should look with the audio cables and power cable connected. If you removed the large ATX connector in the previous steps, reinstall it at this time. Next, install the mini plug you removed from the old board and plug it into the PowerWaveJ amp at the line input jack. Here is how the board should look with the mini plug connected. Now that all the cables are connected, it is time to test everything out. At this time, plug in the pinball machine, turn it on, and let it boot up. It is important to note that there will be a delay in the amp putting out sound of roughly 1 minute in order to let the pin boot up. This avoids pops during the startup process. Once the game has booted up, hit the start button. With the ball in the trough and the coin door volume set to roughly 25, use the knobs on the PowerWaveJ Amp to dial in your preferred sound. I would recommend starting with the level knob first to get a baseline sound and then dialing in the other knobs. You can also plunge the ball if you want to get more sounds to dial it in. Remember not to touch the board, only the adjustment knobs. Once you've dialed in your preferred sound, turn off and unplug the pinball machine. With the sound dialed in, it is now time to reinstall the cover using the 4 screws you previously removed. Make sure no cables are pinched between the case cover and the case. Use your nut driver to reinstall the cover. After the cover is installed, return the monitor to the magnetic mounts in the back box. Next, grab the trans-light and reinstall it, then lock it into place. Don't forget to place the back box keys on the coin door hook. If you previously moved the pinball machine, put it back in place at this time and plug it in. Be sure to play a few test games to double-check your work. For any Guns N' Roses CE owners with a soundbar topper, please see the important notes listed here. This is Craig with Hurry Up Pinball, and I wanted to say thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, show your support for Hurry Up Pinball and click the subscribe button. We can also be found on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under Hurry Up Pinball.